What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Commander Crew. Today we're breaking down yet another C19 Commander deck coming out later this month. So today, my buddies Chris, Josh, Eddie, and myself are going to be breaking down the Merciless Rage Rakdos deck. So just like the other videos, which if you haven't seen, we're going to link in the description here below, we're breaking down the new commanders coming out, what we liked about them, what we don't like, whether we build around them, and just kind of giving you some tips and tricks and go from there. So we're going to be starting this off today with the lead singer, Anji, herself, Anji Falconwrath. Anji? I don't know, I'm saying Anji. Anji Falconwrath. Sure, let's
go Anji.
We'll go with Anji. Anji? I don't know. Who knows?
Depends on who's talking.
Wizards knows. We don't. So we're going to break down these commanders for you guys right now. So stick around for the episode, and let's get to it. Alright guys, welcome to the video. Like I mentioned in the intro, we're breaking down the Merciless Rage Rakdos deck for you today. Just like we have done in the other videos, we're going to start with the main commander that's on the front of the box, Anji Falconwrath, and then we're going to go down and break down the other three-color, I guess in this case two-color commanders, along with an honorable mention at the end, which I'm sure you can already guess, but we want to keep it kind of the same as the other episodes, just doing the colored commanders, or the dual colored commanders. So we're going to start off with the lead singer herself here, Anji Falconwrath. So let's read off her card here. We have Anji Falconwrath. She is Rakdos and one generic, so one and a black and a red. It's a 1/3 legendary creature, vampire, and her abilities are haste, and then tap to discard a card, draw a card. And then it says, whenever you discard a card, if it has madness, untap Anji Falconwrath. So basically, you can discard, you can loot, you tap and loot, and then if the card you discarded has madness, you're untapping Falconwrath. So you can just go nuts.
Yeah.
Broken. Just tapping and untapping. Just tapping that card, So, okay, let's just start off right away. General impressions. I'll go last. So, Chris, why don't you go first? What were your general impressions the first time you saw Anji Falconwrath?
Well, when I first started thinking about actual Madness, I figured, what are they going to do? Because Madness really hasn't had a strong suit in the many years that there have been cards for Madness, but there wasn't like a lot of overall cards. I'm happy that they went on Rakdos, because obviously I feel like Rakdos is the strongest for
the only one that has Madness.
Yeah, exactly. You never know. They could have went somewhere else with it,
I think there was a couple blue cards that had Madness, but they weren't very good.
Yeah, so I'm very happy they gave her haste, because that is an automatic enabler. 1/3 body on her, not too bad. Rummaging has always been a strong ability. Discard, draw a card. But the fact that you can basically keep going and going and going, similar to other cards that are out there.
Yep.
That you just automatically, when you play her, you can instantly potentially win the game.
Yeah.
Really helps out a lot. So I do like that. So.
Cool. All right, Eddie. What do you think, Eddie?
I mean, anytime you put draw a card on your commander, it's gonna help. Yeah. Especially in red. Yeah, I actually kind of like it. I'm not normally somebody who's into anything very aggressive or aggro. But this looks fun. This looks like a really fun build around. I will say that most of the Madness cards are not very good. But I think with a couple of tricks put into the deck, you can find other ways of untapping her, and have a little bit more fun that way.
Yeah.
And utilize the discard outlets. I mean, if it's me, I'll have a little bit of fun with like some reanimator type themes. But
of course you
can kind of of course. But you can just about anybody playing this can take a very different route than that. And I think that's pretty cool with it.
Yeah, I have a definite. I was thinking about this card on the ride home today, because I knew we were gonna record Rakdos, and I thought of an interesting way to build it, which we'll talk about when I get there. But yeah, cool. All right, so Josh, what do you think?
I'm thinking turn 1, you play a Mountain, you play a Soul Ring. Turn 2, you play Lightning Greaves. Turn 3, you play Anji, and then you have every single Madness card, and then you get a 8th of Fog Reservoir, and you just storm build, turn 3 win.
All right, so
because you can just continuously just untap her and discard every single card that has Madness. storm, 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 storm. Everyone loses.
That's true, but you still have to pay the mana cost for the madness spell.
No, it's whenever you discard it. If it has madness, you untap it. You don't have to do it. Just keep stacking.
Yeah, but Aether Flux requires you to cast a spell.
You gotta cast a spell.
You gotta
gotta
cast.
learn
Oh,
to
yeah,
learn to read
yeah,
the
you're
card.
discarding.
Oh, okay, so
It
turn
usually
4
helps
you
to
win.
know what reading is.
Okay, so turn 4 you win. Turn 4.
So
Turn 4 you.
Yeah.
you just have to be able to cast. You have to find all the low mana cost casting spells, and go from
Okay,
there.
so turn 1 you play Soul Ring
turn on yourself.
and then you play a mana crypt, and then you play Aether Far Reservoir, and then you win.
All right, we'll let Josh come up with that turn.
Well, that was a little thing in a moment.
Let him figure it out.
He'll play the Rakdos deck when we do the gameplay for these.
You can win in 3 turns with that deck.
You win in 3 turns with a lot of decks.
I would.
In a Precon, you can win in 3 turns. In a Precon.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah, that's a Precon.
Yeah. Who knows?
We'll see.
All right, so
Okay, Corey.
my impressions.
Clearly excited about it.
Yeah, my impressions. I think this could be a sleeper hit. I think a lot of people are going to see this and kind of say the same thing, where they're going to be like, yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, you can do some broken stuff, but I think given the right build, this could easily be up there for like one of the better sleepers as far as commanders that come out. I think the way I would build this, and actually that's the next question on the list is, how would you build it? My answer is yes, I would definitely build this. And the way I would build it is Madness Vampires. So there was that set that came out recently with, what was it? Eldritch Moon. And there was a card in there, I think it was called, it actually may even be in this deck. It's the red vampire it's just a red. And it says all your vampires have madness. So even vampires in your hand, I think it's Falconwrath Gorger. Let me just double check on that before I commit to that. Falconwrath Gorger. Yeah, I was right. Sweet. So Falconwrath Gorger is just a single red mana, and it says it's a 2/1 creature, vampire berserker. Each vampire card you own that isn't on the battlefield has madness. The madness cost is equal to its mana cost. So you could make some busted vampire.
Well, it's also pretty cool that like she's Angie Falconwrath's a vampire. It's a vampire. Like
exactly.
It's pretty strong on theme too.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking. I don't think it's a broken deck. I don't think you're gonna combo off and be a tier 1 or 2 deck. But I think for a fun, like you were saying, a fun flavor kind of deck to put together, I think Madness Vampires for this. That's how I would build it. And I'd go nuts with it. That would be fun.
That could be cool.
That'd be a lot of fun. So I mean, yeah. So would I build it? Yes, and I actually think I might build it. And I would, the builds I would make for this are 100% Madness Vampires. I would just go nuts with Madness cards. So that's what I would do. Okay, so for you guys, would you build it? Open forum. Would you build it?
Yeah, I would. I like this. I like anything that helps me put things in my graveyard. I mean, we talked about it a little bit a second ago. Plus the idea that every single time that I discard a card, I get to draw a card, and there's no cost to this other than tapping my creature. Yeah. If I need to untap it, I could use something like Staff of Domination, or Seize the Day. And Seize the Day actually would be amazing because once I reanimate a creature, I get an additional combat step.
Yeah.
I have 2 combat steps. All I need to do is have Anger in my graveyard, a couple of Eldrazi in my graveyard as well. Reanimate one of them, and Seize the Day, untap my creature, discard something else. Like it could get really, really crazy, and I think it would be something that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Chris, you seem kind of like meh. You were like, I saw the the meh phase. Well, meh.
So like, I really like. I do appreciate she's got haste that you can instantly use her. I like it's basically similar to like Prime Speaker Vanifar.
Yeah.
It's one step above because she has haste as opposed to a Prime Speaker where you have to wait like an extra turn in sense.
Yeah.
So you can basically, if you have that turn right there, that win, you can go off instantly that Josh was mentioning earlier. So I do like that option.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't rummaging. I'd rather loot than rummage. Personally,
rummage. I said looting earlier. I'm sorry, rummaging.
Yeah. Because rummaging is like you're in a sense automatically going down a card. Obviously, Madness works with going down the card, so it works on flavor. I just personally wouldn't want to build her.
Yeah.
I've done vampires before. I don't mind doing the vampire build, but
Is it not Voltron
Edgar
enough for
Markov's
you?
far more personally than I would do.
It's not Voltron enough.
You know.
You can't just stack a bunch of equipment on it and call it a day.
Yeah, I can't Voltron her, so it's a little more skill. If we continue on the later of the episode, you'll see which I'd like to have as my commander personally.
Yeah.
So
I bet that won't be difficult
what way we're
to
going
figure out.
there. So
Yeah. All right, Josh, what do you think? Are you building this? You're not building it? You don't seem very hype on it.
Oh, right now I'm trying to figure how exactly
Gotta go
how many
off on turn
cards
3.
in black and red have madness. Because all you need is just get 20 lands. Because you just need
20
3 to win.
lands.
You just need 3 to win. Okay, well we'll just do 36 just to be consistency, right? And then I'm storming it, bro.
Two.
We're gonna
Oh
play
my
land.
God.
Hey,
Play
Sunday.
red.
Sunday. I'm building this deck Sunday, and I'm winning on turn 3 or 4, guaranteed.
Okay.
We'll see.
All right, I
We'll see you on
guarantee it.
Sunday with it then.
We should all build this and go head up in our own different ways.
Everyone built Anji. Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Yep, and I'll do my
That'd be
Voltron.
All right. If we
Yeah,
ever
your
if
Voltron
we
Anji.
ever do that in the future, I'll link it in the description. If it's not there, we
Cool.
never did it.
Yeah.
All right.
It's
Cool.
not
Cool.
they
Cool.
were just talking to talk.
Yep.
All right. So. All right. So a few of us would build it. A few of us, aren't whatever. But I actually really like it. So all right. Cool. Final impressions on Anji. I actually really like it. I think it's a great commander. I think it's a great card. I think there's cool ways to break it. I think there's cool ways to build a neat, flavorful deck around it. And I'm more psyched on Anji than I thought I was. The first time I saw her, like I said, I was like, yeah, it's cool. But yeah, no, I really like it. I really like it.
As the forefront's perfect.
Yeah.
I give you that. I like this card a lot too. This
Yeah.
is something that I would very much like to build around. What I will say, commenting on your vampire idea.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it a lot actually. But if I'm playing vampires, I'm playing Edgar.
Oh, 100%. If you want to play a competitive vampire deck or even just like a full-on vampire deck, 100% go Edgar. I just think that's a cool... I would like to see the build where this focuses on vampires.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess you're kind of playing with like a glass house because you really are relying on like certain cards like Falcon Wrath Gorger to be out because then it gives all your vampires madness. But I don't know. We'll see. I'm gonna try it. I'll try to build it and then we'll let you know how it goes.
Do it up. Let's face.
All right. Moving on. We're moving on to the next one. Why is there an ad on my thing? Okay, cool. So we're going.
Cut all that out.
We're going to Chainer Nightmare Adept. So Chainer Nightmare Adept is a 3/2 legendary creature, human minion. He costs 2 generic and Rakdos, so 2 and then black and red. And his card reads, there's a lot of text on this one. So discard a card. You may cast a creature card from your graveyard this turn. Activate this ability only once each turn. And then there's another paragraph. Whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, if you didn't cast it from your hand, it gains haste until end of turn. So basically, it's allowing you to discard a card. So that's good for madness. It's good for discarding if you like, you're like Eddie and want to dump stuff in your graveyard. And then you may cast a creature. You may cast a creature from your graveyard this turn. That's broken. So you can cast the card you discarded because discard a card is the cost for the ability. So you have to pay that cost in order to even get the ability. So you can discard what you want to cast, which I think is ridiculous. So you can just set up.
It's this turn. It's not like you don't have to you can just discard a card. Now you have that ability on the stack.
Yeah.
So basically, until the end of the turn, you can cast that creature. So that's what's huge about it. Like if it wasn't that ability right there, that would change it a lot for me personally.
Yeah.
Because discard a card, you may cast until end of turn.
Yeah.
Like if it just said they didn't go 1/1, like you couldn't cast that creature specifically, that would have changed it up substantially in my opinion.
And like this just puts you on watch now. Like you got to make sure if you're playing against this deck, you need to know what they're discarding. Like you can't let that like just kind of slide. Like if someone's like, "Oh yeah, I'm just gonna discard, Emrakul Promised Ends," and then and then just go into the rest of their turn. Like you gotta know.
You're gonna be staring at that graveyard the whole time.
So you need to really make sure you're paying attention.
So while I love this card, I think that's actually its weakness.
Yeah.
What you just described, the fact that everyone knows what's in your graveyard, so everyone knows how you're gonna play or what you're gonna be playing.
You can see it coming.
Yeah.
And you can play
But
around.
that's what Vidal Canori is for.
Yeah.
That's true.
I mean, doesn't mean they can't see it coming.
Correct.
It's in the graveyard,
If you have
right?
Vidalcan Aurea, I'm gonna watch everything you do.
Yeah, seriously. Let alone the stuff that's face up for me.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
I love this card though. I really do. I think it fits in the Ajani build. I mean Ajani build, Angie build. But I also think it stands really strong alone. I would be excited to build something similar to what I was describing earlier. Maybe Reanimate, or maybe not so much because I get to cast out of my graveyard.
Yeah.
Vidalcan Aurea is a must without question. Yeah, this card looks bonkers.
Well, I mean, I think regardless, you go kind of you put a little bit of Reanimator, obviously. Like if Chainer's not on the battlefield, you want that you want redundancy to be able to do the trick you want to do.
100%.
So this is, for me, this is kind of like the Rakdos version of I guess a limited version of what's the Muldrotha, where you can just pop stuff out of your graveyard. You fill it with value creatures that do something when they enter or do something when they die, because you can cast them from the graveyard, so it doesn't matter.
What it does for me is Aristocrats, because you have a card enters the battlefield, it creates X amount of tokens. Then you combine it with any of any sack outlets that give you mana, like an Ashnod's Altar on top of it. Now you have mana from that card.
Yeah.
And now then you sacrifice some of the tokens, discard a random card. Now you have a bunch of mana, then you can recast that initial card again, bring that back to the battlefield. Then you have more mana off that, more triggers off of, for example, like life gain, life lost.
Yeah.
So you can get potentially a significant, basically double dipping down on all your Aristocrats.
Yeah, I think that's a great.
Which I think is a phenomenal option on top of it.
Yeah.
To be able to like basically play a card and then just do it again.
Yeah. Because it doesn't. If the card dies again, the creature dies again. Like it doesn't get exiled or anything, which would be the downside you would expect. It just goes back to your graveyard, and guess what? You can recast it. So I think this is another one where it's like, if you build it the right way, you can take real advantage of this and make it busted.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Chris hit the nail on the head with that one. I mean, you're gonna get basically double triggers on everything. If you're gonna cast it, Ashnod's Altar, recast it, get all the tokens again, sack it. So much value. There's so much value in that card.
Yeah. So I think we answered a lot of would you build it. It sounds like most of us would take a stab at putting something like this together.
I would put it in the 99. I don't think I would make it the Commander though. I'd put it in the 99 for sure.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, so what deck would you put this in?
Any aristocrat deck.
Yeah.
I think that'll be a great ad. Like, there's so much value in that card. It's ridiculous.
I actually like what he just said. I'm considering now. Like I could see how this could fit in my Prosh deck. I'm working on literally right now a Prosh Aristocrats build, without food chain because I want to make it fair. And I could see how this fits in really well, and that could be a heck of a lot of fun.
Yeah. Who's Prosh again? What does he do? Or what do they do?
Let me read him. Hold on, I have the card right here. So, Prosh, Sky Raider of Kerr. He's from one of the previous Commander sets. He's he costs 3 generic mana, black, red, green. He's a legendary dragon creature with flying. Whenever you cast Prosh, put X01 red kobold creature tokens named Kobolds of Kerr Keep onto the battlefield, where X is the amount of mana spent to cast Prosh. Sacrifice another creature. Prosh gets +1/+0 until end of turn, and he's a 5/5.
Okay.
So my entire build here with that particular commander has been put a ton of tokens onto the battlefield, utilize the sack outlet, build him, pump him up really quick, and just go in. And I could see how this card right here, Chainer, could fit so well into this deck. I can constantly reuse some of those ETBs that are generating creatures.
Yeah,
be amazing.
Like Sengir out Autocrat.
Yeah.
When it enters the battlefield, you create 3/0/1 serfs.
Yep.
Like that alone right there. Now, boom, you create 3. That alone can generate upwards of 6+ mana on top of that, and then boom, now you can recast Sengir on top of it again.
Yeah.
Then you just like potentially get upwards of 8 triggers off of 1 card.
Yeah, like this could be really
huge.
cool.
Yeah, I could see it. I could see it.
Plus, it's giving creatures that enter the battlefield that you didn't cast from your hand haste. What? That's crazy.
Whenever not token creature enters the battlefield under your control. Yeah, if you didn't cast it from your hand, so it's got to come out from somewhere.
Yeah. How about out of the command zone?
Okay.
And I give Prosh haste.
Snap.
Yeah, compare that with
actually
doubling
crazy.
season.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Ooh, this is gonna be fun. That's an excellent. Thank you, Josh. That was a great idea.
All right. Well, everyone get ready to see Eddie's Prosh build coming out soon.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do a deck tech.
Yeah,
Let's
we got
do
some
it.
options.
All right, cool. So we got some possible builds. We got some would you build it's. Final impressions. So, clearly we have a few people who think this would go in the 99. I would like to build this as a commander. I think that'd be fun. So, I think it's a great candidate for your leader.
Yeah, I can see both. And I was already excited to build it as a commander, but now throwing it into the 99 with this Prosh build that I'm working on, it's just making me have fun with this all over again.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. All right, guys, we're going to move to the final of the, dual color commanders here. Let me just pull them up. We're moving to Graven Predator Captain. All right, so Craven Predator Captain is a 5/5 legendary creature, human warrior. He costs 3 generic and Rakdos, so that's 3 of any color, black and red. And he reads Menace. Graven Predator Captain gets +X, +O, where X is the amount of life you've lost this turn. And then he has another paragraph. Seems to be a pattern in this deck. Whenever Graven attacks, you may sacrifice another creature. If you do, you draw cards equal to that creature's power, and you lose life equal to that creature's toughness. So, when I saw this one, basically, I would like to build it. I just don't know how I would build it. I don't know if I go some sort of aristocrat build, but I feel like aristocrats are generally small powered, so you're really not going to get that upside with his +X +O ability. And then do you just put a bunch of big toughness power creatures in here and try to go that route? This one seems cool. I'm just not sure how I would build this to make this profitable.
Hey Chris, what's the commander we were talking about? You're building. Every time you lose life, you get
this guy
a trigger. You're building
this is
him.
the one I'm working on right now.
Oh, perfect, Chris. Bring us into your head.
So what I like about it is when you combine him with Lightning Elemental, Ball Lightning, and Thunderkin Awakener, it can go ridiculously strong. When he attacks, you sacrifice Ball Lightning, which is a 6/1. You draw 6 cards and lose 1 life.
Okay.
Like, that's insane. And then you pair that with Thunderkin, where it's when he attacks, choose target elemental creature card in your graveyard with toughness less than his, and return it to the battlefield. So I can potentially bring that Ball Lightning back again, and then the following turn I can then draw another 6 cards and only lose 1 life off of 1 guy.
Okay.
So I feel that it's a style of an aristocrat build with, like, even right now with having that elemental build on top of it, in a sense, like, you can get 6 cards for 3 mana. That's huge.
Yeah.
And only lose 1 life, where a lot of cards are like, well, 1 for 1, like draw 2, lose 2, draw 3, lose 3. This way you draw 6, lose 1.
Okay.
Generally, and that's pretty epic in my opinion, personally. And then you can have potential recursion on top of it, with potentially putting in the Chain of Nightmare Adept on top of this with the Thunderkin Awakener. You have a lot of options of having that recursion.
Yeah.
And on top of it, I'd like to have potential. You do a Voltron style build with potentially getting him to be huge, with adding additional to add Keurig, which we'll talk about in a minute, to basically play all your spells for literally nothing by paying your life.
Yeah.
And you could potentially get him to get enormous with 1 single swing.
So
I'm super excited about this.
Yeah.
Just because I like having I love aristocrat styles, which I would say like a chainer can be a little more in that regard to it, but being able to potentially draw 6 cards, lose 1 life, and on top of everything else, you can. I like the options of it.
Sounds like value to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would actually agree with this previous commander, what you guys were talking about, putting them in the 99. That's where I would see this one going. Specifically, I would put him in, I can't remember the name and it's driving me crazy. I was just trying to look it up, but it's the from the C18, the last year's Commander set, where it was the Hydra creature that you could pay some amount of mana to put it in the battlefield, but it was like an X cost. And then whenever it attacked, you could take a creature from your graveyard and make a token of it tapped and attacking. So then you could use him to sacrifice that creature, that token at the end of combat to get all the cards from sacking that.
Gyrus,
that's
Waker
what it
of
was.
Corpses.
So here, let me read that for you.
When he enters the battlefield with a number of 1/1 counters on it equal to the amount of mana spent on him, he's X and Jund.
Yep.
Whenever he attacks, exile target creature, which it is an exile ability instead of like a die in a sense.
Yeah.
You exile target creature with power less than his. If you do, create a token that's a copy of its tapped and attacking.
And then
a lot of recursion on that one too.
And then you
Didn't
exile
you build
the
that
token.
one?
I did build this one, yeah. So I would put him in this. So basically the way I'm thinking of it is, so you attack with Garrus, you bring Ball Lightning back from your graveyard, tapped and attacking, and then you have Graven tapped and you have to. So okay, this is a little setup. You have to attack with Graven and Garrus. You have Garrus bring back Ball Lightning as a tapped and attacking token. And then, since Graven's also attacking, you can sacrifice the Ball Lightning.
You can't do it because they're all the attack trick. It's all happening at once.
Really? Oh yeah, I guess you're right. Dang it.
So it had to be the following turn.
You can't. It exiles the token at the end of combat.
That's why I'd rather do it with what I was saying earlier.
Yeah.
The Thunderkin Awakener, because it doesn't exile it. You just sacrifice it.
That's true.
See, when I saw this card, the very first thing I thought of was Hatred.
That's 100%.
Hatred
100%.
is ridiculous with this. Being able to pay literally any amount of life, pump him up for that amount of life, and then he automatically pumps up for that amount of life on top of that, then go swing in and he's your commander. You just kill somebody right there.
For free, basically.
Yeah, it's insane. So I paid, 5-10 life. He gets plus 10, and then plus 10 again. I'm sorry, plus 10 plus 0, plus 10 plus 0 again. Now he's a 25-5, swinging in with Menace, throwing a Rogue's Passage, and I'm taking out a player with a Voltron commander.
That's good. That can be on a turn 4.
Yeah. That's crazy. That is crazy.
So we found Chris's Voltron commander of the.
Oh, I'm already working on it. I'm already built.
Of the deck, we found it. Man, I'm bummed that Garrus trick wouldn't work. I thought that would have been such a cool. Dang. Oh well, what are you gonna do? That's why we do this. See, if you were thinking about doing it, now you know you shouldn't do it. All right. So we have possible builds. All right. So would you build it, Chris? Chris is obviously building it. So cool.
Yeah, I'm building it.
Chris build it. Eddie, would you build this card? Would you build this deck?
I could see myself having some fun with this guy. I'm not as into it as I was Chainer or Angie, but I think it could be pretty cool.
Cool. All right, Josh, would you build it? No.
No.
Solid no.
Josh,
You guys know I build CDH decks, and I can't see it. It's not me. I don't know.
All right.
He's that kid.
All right. That's fine. All right, cool. So that's it for the main major commanders. Now, I know a lot of you are yelling at us right now, like, hey, what about Crick? What about Crick? And
I love him.
What I gotta say
freaking love him.
is, what about him? All right, he's just a
What
dude.
about him?
What about him? He's just a dude.
He's not just a dude.
He's just a dude.
He's the son.
He's
the son of the greatest physician
He's
known
just.
to magic.
He's just a dude. I'm just gonna say it right now.
He is the dude.
He is just a dude who has like spiky collarbones. All right. You bet. So basically, no birds can land on him. He's golden. No bird's gonna be pooping on his shoulders. All right. So Kurt, we're gonna talk real quick. Honorable mention of the episode because I know people would lose their minds if we didn't bring him up. So we're talking Kirk, son of Yawgmoth. He is a 2/2 legendary creature, horror minion, and this is where it gets nuts. His casting cost is 4 generic, and then 3 Phyrexian black mana, basically. So what that means is you can pay 4 generic mana, and then you can either pay 3 black, or you can pay 2 life per Phyrexian mana symbol. So you could get this out on turn 4, and then pay 6 life to get him out. But he has other abilities here. He has lifelink to help you recoup some of this life. But then also, for each swamp in a cost, you may pay 2 life rather than pay that mana. Whenever you cast
everything's Phyrexia, it's insane.
Whenever you cast a black spell, put a +1/+1 counter on Kirk, Son of Yawgmoth. So obviously he's going in a mono black deck. All you're gonna have is, if he's the commander, is gonna be a mono black deck. All you're gonna have is black, mana pips. That's it. You're not gonna have anything else. So basically, you can just cast your whole deck for life instead of mana. Obviously, you need a way to recoup that life, but he's got lifelink. Black has a ton of ways to make lifelink, or to make you gain life. This is busted. This card is legitimately
Way too busted.
Like, I put him up in the same tier as as the new Urza. Like, just
He's better than Urza.
just
He's
stupid.
better than Urza.
No way, man. Nah, dude.
I don't know if I agree with that
Nah,
one.
dude. He's got
Better than
Urza's Urza, bro.
Urza's way better.
No, he's better than Urza.
I think he's too busted. I mean, would I build him? Sure, but am I gonna keep it? Probably not. And I don't know. It's cool. It's great. It's an awesome card. It's an awesome commander. I could see this. I could see me putting this in a. Chris is just dying over there. Chris, don't die.
I died
man.
a little. We're good.
I could see putting this in the 99. I wouldn't want this as a commander.
What?
Just because? No.
What?
Don't get me wrong. Hold on. Let me back up.
You don't want a turn 2 Gristlebrand?
Let me back up.
There's way other ways.
Let me back up.
You don't want a turn 2 Gristlebrand?
Hold on.
That's a win.
Let me explain
That's a
myself. Let me explain myself.
Faithless looting into a return from the dead, bro.
All right. Okay. Not that I don't want him. Not that I don't think he's a good as a commander. I personally wouldn't want to build a commander deck around him. I would rather him be in the deck than me.
He's an enabler.
I understand why. It's because he can't play extra turn spells with it.
Yes.
There's no blue.
the whole
There's
reason.
no blue.
Yeah,
Exactly.
That's the problem.
Exactly.
Makes
I get it.
sense.
Exactly.
See, we're on the same page, buddy.
I can't
get
play
it.
extra turns. I can't play my expropriates with Kirk. Crick.
Eric.
Kirik. Whatever. There's no I. It's Crick. Crick.
It's
Oh, wait, I was wrong. You could play Temporal Extortion. That's an extra turn.
There's one.
And
Sweet.
you can play it for 8 life.
We found one. Sweet. I'll pay 8 life.
You pay 8 life when you play Temporal Extortion. Any player may pay half his or her life rounded up. If the player does, counter this spell. Take an extra turn after this one.
Perfect.
That's a lot of life. Wow.
And what's the card? Isn't there a card? So basically, you have your Sanguine Bond and Exquisite Blood combo you could do with this.
Yeah.
So whenever, well, I mean, you're killing everybody at that point. Whenever, Sanguine Bond is whenever you gain life, target opponent loses that much life, and then Exquisite Blood is whenever an opponent loses life, you gain that much life. So you just kind of have this weird circle going through. But
And you can throw an Exsanguinate.
Exsanguinate in
Each
there and
opponent-
make everybody.
Each opponent loses X life. You gain life equal to life loss. This way you can recoup some of the life that you've been using to spend to pay for all these spells.
Exactly. Or you can just break even with Exsanguinate. Oh no, you
That's
can't
true.
because it's an X spell, right?
Oh, right.
Never
Yeah,
mind.
you can't.
You
You're right.
can't.
You're right.
So there's Kirk. There's Crick. Everyone's hyped on Crick. We know everyone's hyped on Crick.
We didn't even talk about the last line of text on him. He gets a +1/+1 counter every time we cast a black spell.
That's true. And if he's the leader of the deck, you're only playing black spells. So guess what? Crick can be
You win.
Crick can be your Voltron commander. Your second Voltron commander, Chris.
Yeah.
Options.
You got options.
Sounds to me like Josh is already in the middle of building them, though.
Yeah, he's like typing away right now.
Yes, he's building it. Yeah. You see that whiteboard behind you? That's just him building the deck out. It's just if you were to look on the other side, it would be like one of those maps with the thread strings all over, and Kirk's in the middle of it. Or Crick. All right.
I might have a poster of him already. I don't know.
I wouldn't be surprised. All right, cool. So take Crick out. We're gonna put Crick back in the because obviously he is the who you would
He's
pick.
not multiple.
He's who you would pick and why. So we're gonna take Crick and we're gonna put him in the silo. He's obviously the winner. We're just gonna leave him alone for now. So out of the 3 we talked about, Anji, Chainer, and Grievin, let's go in a circle. Who would you pick to build around? And just a very quick, why? Why would you build it? So Chris, who are you picking out of these 3?
Well, you know where I'm
He's already
going with
building.
It's true.
it. I'm already building them, so it's gonna be Greven Predator Captain.
All right. And we know why. We know exactly why.
Yep.
All right. Moving on. Eddie, what are you building?
I don't know. I'd go. It's one of the two, Chainer or Angie. Both of these cards are gonna be a super fun build around, and I'd probably have either or in the deck that I build. I'll tell you what though, Chainer is 100% going in my Prosh build.
All right.
Oh yeah.
We look forward to looking to watching that deck. I think we should. This is a side note, but I think we should start doing deck techs. But anyway.
Yeah, I agree. In fact, I think we should do them solo.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. Or at least in like teams of 2.
Yeah, that works too.
Yeah.
Either way.
We'll figure it out.
I just mean because we're already building decks on our own.
Yeah.
On our own.
Yeah.
So that could be really cool.
We'll figure it out. Stay tuned for deck techs. All right, Josh, who are you building?
Anji.
All right.
I can win the fastest with her. I can win like on turn 3, 4. I mean, why not? I can win the fastest.
All right.
I can't wait to see this deck where he wins on turn 3 or 4.
I'm excited to see it.
It's gonna happen. You guys know it. It will happen.
I wouldn't even be mad if it did. Would not even be mad if it did.
It'd be epic. I'm sorry, that'd be absolutely epic.
All right, I look forward to it. All right, yeah. So I'm gonna pick also Anji, and I'm going vampires. I'm doing the Madness Vampires. I'm gonna try to make it work. I'm gonna try to make it work. It's gonna be janky as hell, but it's gonna happen.
Hey man, you don't always have to build the best deck. You just have to have the most fun with it.
That's true, and that's what Commander's all about.
No. Damn right.
Josh is like,
my
nah,
child
man.
of Alara.
Josh gotta win.
Straight jank.
Josh has got to win.
Josh, buddy, I have my breakfast Hulk for any time you want to play.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I'm sticking with the casual. I mean stuff. Casual stuff.
I got you. Don't worry.
Hey, where's my Zer deck? The Zer somewhere. I think my son has it in his hand right now.
If you want to have a CDH game, man, I got Vanifar. Eddie's got some stuff. I'm sure Chris has something lying around.
I'll rebuild my Joyra.
We'll make it happen.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I ways around it now.
All right.
We'll make it happen.
We should do it.
I'll just build Urza.
Yeah.
There you go.
Build it up.
That should be our live game. We should do a CDH game.
Oh god, it'll be so fast.
I mean, we'd have to do 4.
It'd be the easiest
least,
video to edit.
Yeah.
Seriously.
It's just 7.5.
How many cameras do you have for that stuff?
I'm gonna have 2 GoPros and then probably one nice one DSLR.
I mean, between me and Chris, we have some really nice camera phones that we could use.
Yeah.
We'll we
have 2 apiece. So.
True. All right, everybody. So we've gone through the would you build it and why. The final question we're going to run through everyone here is, would you buy this deck? And basically what we mean by that is, obviously most of us have already pre-ordered them. I pre-ordered all the decks. But these Commander Precons, a lot of these pre-constructed sealed products are meant as an entry into the format. So as a new player, as someone coming fresh into the game, do we think this deck is a good fit for those new players? Personally, I think as someone new to the game, this, if one, on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being I wouldn't recommend it, 5 being I would highly recommend it, I'm definitely putting this on the 2 to 3 scale.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think it's
I do the same thing.
Yeah, I think it's complicated enough where there's definitely strategy you're going to need to know. Whereas something like the Jeskai one we talked about last time is just more shoot your spells out, man. Just play your cards. Whereas this, I feel like there's a lot more you got to think about when you're playing it. So for me, I wouldn't recommend this to a brand new player. Maybe someone who's new, you kind of get their feet wet with another one and then give them this one.
But do you mean new to Magic or new to Commander?
I mean, I think new to Commander, sure, this is probably a good.
I'd say new to Commander because you got to figure people who are looking to play Commander, they've already started playing Standard, or they're just done with Standard because of the rotations.
That's true.
That's typically their entryway. Somebody that's new to Magic, I mean, no, I would put them in a mono green stompy deck and let them go stomp face and learn how the thing works.
Yeah.
But somebody that's new to just Commander, I think this is these precons in particular, especially this one in particular, are actually pretty great, and for a number of reasons. But most importantly, it's because they're not bad. they're actually pretty well thought out. They're on a decent power level. You could sit down with friends who have their own decks that they've tuned fairly well, Nothing that's a CEDH level, but that they've tuned fairly well, and you could compete. And I think that's really, really good for, something that's costing you under $100.
Yeah. Okay, I can get on board with that. I can agree.
I would give it, like Corey said, like a 2, maybe 3, because with the madness, so many things can go wrong. Like you can make the bad decision like left and right in that deck, especially if you're brand new, not understanding the game. But if you're a veteran, you know how the stack works. You know, you're thinking ahead. You already know what's gonna happen. It's a great deck. And then on top of that, I mean, any deck that has Carrick is a good deck. So. But if I was gonna teach my little brother how to play, I wouldn't give him this deck. I'd probably give him like a mono green for sure. Just play big things, learn how to cast things. This one's like there's too many mechanics involved, I think.
Yeah,
that's how I feel about it too.
Too much thought behind it. But for someone like Eddie was saying, for someone who has played the game and just wants to dip their toes into Commander, I think this is a pretty good option.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, guys. Well, that was the newest episode of the Commander Crew. Make sure, if you haven't already checked out our other 2 videos on the Sulti and Jeskai deck, make sure you check those out. We're going to put the links in the description below. Or you can even hit the little I button that's somewhere in here. So make sure you check those out. It's in the corner somewhere.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Also, let us know what you think about this deck. Is this a deck you would buy? Who would you build around? What kind of themes would you put into this? We want to hear from you guys. We want to talk to you. So go ahead and leave us a comment. Also, you can find us on Twitter. Soon you'll be able to find us on Facebook and Instagram. We're going to start those up soon. This is still fairly new, so bear with us as we get those put together. But we're going to put all the links for everything you need to follow us and keep in the know in the description below. So yeah, all right, guys. Without further ado, the next one, the final one, probably won't come out until after the decks were released, but maybe we'll tweak the episode to go for it. But the next one's going to be the Naya deck, all about tokens. So
that one's going to be a lot of fun.
So make sure you stick around for that. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for watching this episode. Like Eddie said, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Anything you want to know about in the future, any episode topics you want to see, let us know. Maybe we'll make an episode out of it. But until then, I think that's it.
Take care.
We're done. We're out.